Alright, hey, what's up guys? So I'm going to kind of show you how I use the A&J skinning machine. Justin is a great guy, makes a great product. Knock on wood, I've never had any issue with this. I've had guys ask me, like, does the tail strip? Are you pulling fur out? With the system he's made, I've not had any issue with that. So I'm not going to go and show you guys how I open up the coyote, but I just go down the collar separation line and then work around the vent and then come up. I'll show you, how I pull this leg down and everything, but I caught this coyote earlier today, and some guys ask me, like, why don't you skin on the line? Like, why aren't you? Well, I have no problem skinning on the line if I was out of state, but I'm in my home state, and I have a facility here that I have a whole unit, and I have everything that I can possibly need to skin comfortably. So, that being said, if I took, say it took me anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes to skin a coyote, and say I caught, say I caught 5 coyotes, and 5 coyotes, and it took me 6 minutes to skin them. Well, that's 30 minutes. So either I could spend that 30 minutes putting in some new sets, or I have a family and I want to take that time and spend it with my family, and then maybe, my daughter goes to bed, and then that's when I come out here. So usually when I get home, I spend time with my daughter and my wife, and then once my daughter goes to bed, my wife will usually work out, and then I'll come out here and start working on my fur. So yeah, I do think that skinning on the line is a good idea, and I've talked to Justin about making me a rig that goes into my hitch, or that would go into a hitch that I could even mount onto a like a grill, kind of like how Randy Smith did in his combines and coyotes, or Wolf in the Corn Belt. But let's get into it. So what I do is I cut around the vent, come up the leg, meet everything up. So on this side, we'll just pull down, and then you want to stay close to the fur here. So as the closer you can stay to the fur, you're not gonna have a rip or a possible tears. So right here in this kind of up towards the higher part of the flank, it will tear sometimes if you pull hard. But with this one, it's actually working really well for me. So, and then once I come to the front, after I get done with the back, I get down to the tail, I come to the front, and I just give a couple quick jerks. So jerk down, pull a little bit of meat, but that's okay, it'll come off with the scrape. Do the same on the other side, and then you're gonna have this membrane. So sometimes they want to swing around. I'll just literally take their front legs, put it right between my thighs so they don't twist on me, and then I'm just gonna work this membrane. So now I've got a gap in here. So this is a male. I'm keeping the penile bones to sell them. So what I'll do is I'll come up, I'll just use like a serrated knife, and I'm just gonna come up and I'm gonna make a couple little cuts right to the testicles. That's gonna come down, and then, you know how like a dog gets a red rocket? I know that sounds kind of, but I just literally pull it out the front. You're gonna see this little membrane, and then you're gonna cut it. So there's your bone that you can keep. Now that you have it here, you can either do some knife work if you don't feel comfortable pulling on it, but I typically just pull it on each side, and then you're going to get a nice opening right here. And you can work this down or you can cut it, it don't matter. So after that, you should get a fold right in here on the base of the tail. Now this is just how I do it. And I cut that, just go right down, so it's literally just going to be wide open for you. And then I just pull a little bit. I pull down to where my cut is. Don't pull too hard, or you're gonna rip the tail off. After that, I put my little handy dandy in, and these tails are pretty tough, so you can tug on them, and then it's off. So now you have it down. This is going to be kind of a tough little membrane to pull, but you can get by with it. And then I'm just going to work it down. And what I like to do is I like to take my fist, I like to grab close to the carcass, and with my fingers go right into the carcass, and I'm going to twist like that. So I just twist down. And I just keep doing that. I've been lung shooting these or heart shooting them to save them for the skulls. So they do bleed a little bit, but it's not terrible. So you guys are saying, well, when's the skinning machine come into play? Well, it'll come into play about right now. Most of these I can literally just skin by hand, but I don't like to put that stress on my body, and that's why I bought the skinning machine. And I think what Justin has implemented into the trapping industry with this machine is bar none, top notch. I think it's phenomenal. I've done a few videos for him, but one thing I do want to state is whenever you're putting this tail in, you're going to slide the tail in, and I had him put an extra rod on here so that it kind of shortened the gap in here, so you can get more of a bite per se. And then I also had him. He usually just does a two bolt thread that you can mount into your concrete slab, but I had him put a 4-bolt thread in just because if I'm pulling the number of coyotes that I should be catching, I want to make sure that it's completely solid. And to be honest with you guys, I've only put 2 bolts in because it's worked phenomenal. But one thing I want to show you, and let me rotate this. So whenever you put this in, you want to pull it past the tail. That would be my recommendation. You don't want to just put the tail in. You want to pull it past the tail so you're getting a little bit more of that hind quarter. So pull that through, and then once you do that, there's a click. You can either click it up or click it down, and then you're just going to rotate. Pardon me. And I like to pull a little bit of tension on it. So it's not going to look as smooth as what it should. Alright, so it's going to be twisted in there. You guys get the gist. So I like to separate the arms so that you can see the face in between. And then I'm going to pull it down tight, like that. So everything's tight. Carcass is tight. That's tight on the right up into the armpits. So the most of the time you have difficulty getting it down to the armpits where you can get your rod through. So with this machine, you'll see how easy it is. Alright, so it literally just pulled all the way through the armpits. So as you can see, I can put my hand through it. No problem, easy peasy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little slack off of it. I'm just going to take a little slack off of it. That way I can grab it without it, so it's not so tight. And then I will just use my knife and then cut the arms out. Same on this side. Alright, now you can either crank it or pull it with the puller if you want. I like to just crank it. Alright, so now it's going to be all the way down to the face. I let slack off again. I'm going to take this button and I'm going to flip it down. Okay? And then I'm just going to pull it out. as you can see, there's no hair, no fur has been pulled out. It's great. You're down to the ears. All I do is I take that serrated knife, I find that cartilage, and then I just go right underneath of it. Flip it up, and some people have a hard time pulling it through. So what you can do is, you know, if anyone's ever taken physics, just use like a fulcrum and push up. Just rotate. You're going to want to rotate that blade up, or, you know, pin it against the skull and just push up, and it'll cut right through it. No problem. Do the same thing on this side. Actually, I'll go this way so you guys can see it. Another little tip is they have the mandible here. It has a line that goes through it that you can put your fingers in, and you can grab it, and that way you can control the head movement so it's not twisting around on you. Anyways, go in, put your knife in, okay, twist it up, and then just rotate. And then you're through. Now I'm leaving the cartilage in these ears just for the purpose of this demonstration. I usually take it out, or I try to take it out as much as I can while I'm here. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. So I'll finish this out real quick. One thing to be aware of is whenever if you're not using one of these serrated tips and you're using just like a straight blade, don't angle your blade straight into the nozzle, because you're going to be cutting on a lot of bone. You're going to dull your blade. Angle your blade kind of in a downward angle and then cut, and that way you're going to be cutting more of the membrane, more of that soft tissue. And then once you get down to the cartilage of the nose, which you should be able to feel it, that's when I go from angling down to straight across. I'm left-handed, so it's kind of telling you about that. And then if you pull down far enough, you can cut that lower lip off. And then you're just left with a nice little hide that you can do whatever you want with. I do end up keeping most of the time the testicles. And I just use this serrated tip blade as well, and I just cut the testicles off. Try not to take as much meat as I don't have to. And then I just save those right there. Then I switch to my straight blade, and that's when I start working on the gland. So there's a gland right here. So you want to come up above that and cut. You're going to see some adipose tissue or fatty tissue. Cut that, come up under, cut it. A lot of guys say pull out, 3 or 4 inches of intestine. I just want straight gland. I don't want any filler. Then you're going to have some glands up here on the shoulder blade. You're going to have some glands in the armpit. You're going to have some neck glands. You're going to have some hot glands. You can take the bladder out if you want. You can get a piece of the kidney, a piece of the liver. So it's up to you guys on what you want to do. I have so many glands, I don't even know what to do with them. I just use them for personal use and save them as I go. So all I do is take out the vent and then pretty much throw them away. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. And Cheers.